NBA season's almost here.
Thank you, God!
So let's rank the teams according to who can win the title. I'm not talking about the regular season here. And I can already see what some of the commenters will say.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul.
However, I know most of you will agree with me, and we'll all find out who's right in the end anyway. But it begins with the one who will win tier. The Nets, the Lakers, and the Sixers. Obviously, the Nets are stacked with talent, and they're one of the most deep teams in the league. I already said two of my top acquisitions in the offseason were Blake Griffin and Patty Mills for depth. So you know what? Kyrie can go ahead and take a mental break anytime he wants. No problem. I was not a huge fan of the Russell Westbrook trade. You know that. But I think that if anyone can get this man to cooperate in the postseason, it is LeBron James. And after they finished in the 7th seed last year, you were going to have a motivated LeBron. And as long as he's healthy, that is an NBA Conference Finals at least. And yes, I put the Sixers in there. I don't care who they trade for. They're going to get someone who is a point guard who is at least halfway decent. Even D'Angelo Russell would do it. That combined with the clarity that will come with getting Ben Simmons out there, they won't have to rely on him late in games. They won't have the awkward fit anymore. Again, I would even take D'Angelo Russell. They're going to have an MVP type Embiid. Tobias Harris, I think, will have a bigger role without Ben having to have the ball. I'm a believer. Next here is the true contenders, the Bucks and the Nuggets. And so basically a true contender would be if there are big injuries like we saw before, I think the Bucks or the Nuggets could win, right? Like the Raptors won in 2019, big injuries, okay, capable. Last year the Bucks won, obviously big injuries as well. And so yeah, the Bucks have an MVP in Giannis. He's already proven he can win. That one's obvious, right? For the Nuggets, Jamal Murray will return in January. I know that they got swept in the playoffs last year, but Nikola Jokic coming off an MVP. I think Jamal Murray's going to be really good when he comes back. Look at like recent guys off an ACL. Did you remember that Zach LaVine had a torn ACL in 2017? He's like one of the most athletic players in the NBA. Okay, so I am a believer in the Nuggets. But forget the Zach LaVine thing for the Warriors, because they're first in the fake contenders. I do not believe that Clay is in that same class. You combine an ACL with a torn Achilles. I think that Clay will play, a lot less games than people expect. I think that his shooting will be there, but his defense won't, which is really key to what they do. They still have to work the rookies in. They're relying on James Wiseman, who was a disaster in the second part of the season. It is a huge uphill battle if they don't make a big trade. Other fake contenders are the Mavericks, who I am way higher on than most people. I believe that Luka Doncic will be a league MVP because he's going to take another step. I believe that Kristaps Porzingis will be a beast, will be in all-star conversations again, especially because all-star is all about that first half of the season. He's going to come in off a healthy offseason for the first time in a long time. He is going to be as motivated as he's ever been, not just motivated from the outside, people talking trash, from the inside. His name was in trade talks, and people are saying, the Mavericks messed up. KP is good to go. I am a believer. Another fake contender is the Jazz. I know that they were the number 1 seed, but their issues are still there. Like, they didn't do really anything in the offseason to change my mind. Donovan Mitchell, of course, is a great dude, great player, super motivated. But the fact is that their perimeter guys could not defend, and so the Clippers in the postseason were able to chuck threes, beat them without Kawhi, and that stranded. And Rudy Gobert wasn't able to go out and defend on the perimeter. Nothing has changed. I believe that teams have their number in the West. They're a fake contender. Also, the Clippers are a fake contender because obviously Kawhi is too big of an injury, but I think they'll be better than people think. The Heat are a fake contender. I believe they're a top 4 team in the East, but adding Kyle Lowry is not enough. They still need a 1A player. That is what we saw in the bubble, right? Like, they got all the way to the finals. Jimmy Butler was their best player. He's not good enough to be the best player on a championship team. I love him, believe me, and he'll be healthy. So I think they're going to be good in the regular season, but they're not a contender getting Kyle Lowry. Also, the Celtics are a fake contender. I think they're going to be really good in the regular season because you've got Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum healthy. You have a really motivated Dennis Schroeder. Coaching changed with Ime Udoka, but just someone who looks like a contender in the regular season, but really isn't. The next tier is the early exit tier, led by the Hawks. And I don't hate the Hawks, okay? I don't hate Trae Young. It's not an insult to call them early exit. 2 years ago, they couldn't make the playoffs, and we didn't believe they could. Now, for them to, be an early exit in the playoffs, that's where they should be at this point, okay? Trae Young is an elite offensive player, so gifted, so much further ahead of every player his age offensively, but he needs elite defensive players around him, which he does not have. Also in the early exit category is the Blazers. I don't think that the Chauncey Billups hire really is enough. I know Larry Nance Jr. is good on defense, but like the Cavaliers were 25th on defense last year. It's not like Larry Nance Jr. is going to change the world. And the Bulls, an early exit, and that's at best. Honestly, I've got him as the 8th seed. I've talked enough about the Bulls. You guys know. I will link some Bulls videos at the end of this. Next up, the lucky to make the play-in tier, led by the Raptors. No disrespect, but the team has no direction. Are they trying to go young? Are they trying to win now? I don't know. They picked Scotty Barnes over Jalen Suggs, who would obviously replace Kyle Lowry. I'm so confused by them. Honestly, with the competition in the East, the Raptors would be lucky to make the play-in. Also, the Hornets, the Pacers, the Knicks. Yes, I do think that the Knicks, I just see a lot of regression coming. I love RJ Barrett. I'm not a big fan of Julius Randle. I know he had an all-star year, but I could easily see that coming back. I do think Derrick Rose wins 6th man of the year. There's going to be a lot of competition, though, in the East, and to me, not shocked if they have to fight for the play-in. Also, the Spurs, the Grizzlies, and the Pelicans, although I really hope that New Orleans makes it finally, and that Zion finally has a consistent coach after they hired Willie Green. We'll see. And finally, the awful tier. Cavaliers, I think they're about 3 years away from doing anything, making the playoffs. Thunder, although it will be really fun, like I'm still in to watch Thunder games, right? Like I want to see what Josh Giddey looks like. I want to see more of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lou Dort and all those guys. And also the Timberwolves, unless they trade for Ben Simmons. It's going to be another long year. But our final tier is the god-awful tier. The Magic, the Pistons, and the Rockets. All of these teams are depending on rookies. It's all about development. But my favorite part about the NBA is that, like, I am pumped to watch every single team. We could have the most random matchup ever, and I would be really excited to watch that, right? Like, even in the god-awful tier, I'm excited to watch Rockets, Pistons, and Magic games. And I want to make this clear, things can change, okay? I'm going to update these tiers as the season goes along because obviously injury is a part of the game. However, I did promise you a Bulls video, so this is why Bulls fans should be afraid of what happens next and also my worst signings of the year.